What would you do if you spotted a clone of yourself and then you watched that clone jump in front of a moving train? Before you answer, I should also tell you that you will find out that there are who knows how many more versions of you scattered all over the world, and it turns out one of them's trying to kill you. That's where Orphan Black kicked off. And as the story unfolded, the show gained momentum with fans, becoming the cult hit of the year. Season 2 is on the horizon, and to celebrate, we'll talk to the stars of the show, celebrity fans Patton Oswalt and Orlando Jones, as well as the creators of the series. And even more exciting, we've got an exclusive sneak peek of Season 2. So, let's get started. It is time to send in the clones. Greetings, and welcome to Orphan Black, the Cloneversation. I am your host, Wil Wheaton. I'm from the internet. Now, as far as I know, I am the only one of me there is in the world. But that's what Sarah Manning thought at first, right? Orphan Black is, hands down, one of my favorite series of all time, and I am so excited to be here today to celebrate this amazing show. But before we bring out our guests, let's enjoy a quick refresher of some of the more nail-biting moments of Season 1.
Something really weird just happened at the train station.
What?
I saw her go kill herself.
Ew.
Yeah, and she looked exactly like me. I've got to go up to her flat.
She's got $75,000 in the savings account.
I have an idea.
Sarah, any second, someone's gonna ID the body and it's game over.
Beth is a cop. I'm a cop.
Beth, what's happened?
A lot. Hey, I'm Cosima. How many of us are there?
An illegal human cloning trial. There's 9 of you.
No, there's only one of me.
We're clones. We're someone's experiment and they're killing us off. I'm not Beth!
I'm beginning to realize crazy's genetic.
You want to mess with my life? I'm going to mess with yours.
Dig faster. Cosima's safety is at stake.
He says you're in danger.
I think something bad is gonna happen.
I wouldn't trust anybody. We make a family.
Our bodies, our biology belongs to them.
Sarah, they could claim Kira.
Fans will recognize our set as the character Felix's loft. If you're not familiar with it, let me tell you, this has become kind of a clone clubhouse. And since we are now joining that club, I thought the perfect way to kick things off was by introducing this guy. He is the best brother a girl could have, especially if you're the type of girl who needs a body identified at the morgue, or a place to hide from an abusive drug dealer boyfriend, or a babysitter/bartender, or someone to infiltrate a club full of body augmentation enthusiasts. Please say hello to Jordan Gavaris.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for being here today.
No, I didn't when you started listing all that stuff off. I'm like, my God, did he actually do all those? And then I was like, yeah, he did.
I wanted to talk with you about the relationship between Felix and Sarah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have heard, because I did homework, that you and Tatiana have a very close relationship. And the relationship between Sarah and Felix is that like idealized brother-sister relationship.
Totally.
And I wondered how the relationship you two have off camera affects the relationship that your characters have on camera.
We're extremely honest with each other, like almost psychically, inappropriately honest. I tell her everything.
Yeah.
Let your imaginations run wild.
How long did it take for the depth of that relationship to develop?
That was instantaneous.
Yeah.
The second we walked into the room when they were holding the chemistry test for Sarah and Felix,
Yeah.
it was like witchcraft. I had rehearsed with a couple of the other Sarah options because, you know, they test 3 Felixes, 3 Sarahs, and then they put us together to see who has the best chemistry with who. And she was the only person that I didn't have a chance to run lines with prior to the test, and we were first up.
Wow.
And we got into the room, and I had run those lines, oh my God, 5,000 times with 5 different friends, you know, my mother.
Yeah.
It was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't
that day
recommend
when
that.
you're at network is the worst.
It's by far, and you know, you're already nervous enough, and then there's like a bunch of people there being extra super duper nice to you, and you're like,
and it makes you even more uncomfortable.
It does, because it's sort of like the animal that you know is gonna eat you, but it's like petting you softly before it's
That's the best description of the network I've ever heard in my life.
They're just like stroking your hand. Right. I walked in and we started the scene, and it was like, suddenly we were Felix and Sarah. I'd rehearsed those scenes 500 times, and it had never felt as raw and, not to sound wanky and existential, but honest and truthful. But
that's what's really important in a show like this. We need to connect to your characters. So when you have that honest relationship, we can see that Felix and Sarah love each other. And you know, one of the things that I really loved about your relationship is that before the end of the second act of the pilot, when Sarah is clearly in trouble, Felix is like, "Great, what can I do?
Yeah, absolutely.
How can I get on board? I'm here for you."
Which was so funny.
I love that.
It's because, like, I think in the sci-fi genre especially, suspension of your disbelief is extremely important. Mm-hmm. And the only way that you're going to do that is if the actors believe wholeheartedly what is going on. You can't sort of have one foot in, one foot out, have this sort of objective perspective where you're judging everything from the sidelines, everything in the script, and going, oh, well, you know, this wouldn't really happen, or the character wouldn't really say this. So the most important thing we could do is just dive in, surrender ourselves to the ridiculousness of the concept and the insanity of the show, and just move with total abandon.
Hello, Felix, gay friend.
Acting coach.
Oh, that's perfectly fine here. Which one? Clubland is my world. Does your daddy have a drinks trolley?
What's that?
It's Delphine! She's got baggage.
I don't do backup. I don't even know what backup is.
But it's not mate, all right? It's more like, it's like might. I don't need prints when I burgle. Well, aren't you an old duck?
Do not shoot me, please!
But you look so lonely.
You can't hide in minimalist furniture. There's redness. There's right there, tiny little suburban stress set.
Is every man in your life a complete wanker except me? Vic! I have a knife and I will stab you in the face. Come on, let's go. I need to change. Fetch me something gay.
You bastard.
Adios, dragsters. Terrible casting.
We've got a very special member of the Clone Club joining us. This guy manages to perform stand-up comedy, write and act in films and television, while simultaneously ruling the Twitterverse, all without cloning himself. Please welcome the man that I'm just now realizing might be my monitor. This is Patton Oswalt, everyone. Thank you, everybody. Are you my monitor? You can tell me the truth.
If I was your monitor, would I tell you that I was your monitor?
I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't tell me because you'd think that I would expect you to tell me, so you're not going to tell me.
Yeah, but if I wasn't your monitor, the first thing I would tell you was that I was your monitor.
But if you were my monitor, you might say I'm your monitor to throw me off from the fact that you are my monitor. Okay, as long as we understand each other.
I think it's crystal clear.
There's always a moment in a show where we're watching the show and we go, oh, I'm totally on board. When does that happen for you with Orphan Black?
This show... Usually, this show is amazing because the moment when I'm like, oh my God, I'm on board, was, I would say, in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
The image of this woman quietly, calmly taking off her jacket and purse and then jumping in front of a train. It's like, so hang on, this is how the show starts.
Yeah.
And then to then have Tatiana be our main character, and she's not exactly the best person on the planet.
I love that
She's
so
just a
much.
little slippery.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like imagine there's this whole new technology connected to an amazing conspiracy, and the last person you want to find out about it has just found out about it.
Yeah.
So the levels of intrigue they piled up. I mean, that was the writing of the more that's revealed, the more intrigued and confused you get. And that's really hard to pull off. And they did it constantly in the pilot.
So did you watch it one episode at a time, or did you binge it?
I watched the pilot just I was randomly flipping around the TV, and I turned on BBC America because usually there's something good on, and it was just starting. I had no plans to watch it. I had read nothing about the show, didn't know what it was about, and then I just started. You know, luckily it was. It showed, and I think it was like 6 episodes in, and BBC was rerunning a lot, so I immediately TiVoed a whole bunch, and then, so I got the hook in me, did a small binge, and then I had to wait week to week.
Oh, that's
so
the worst. The catch-up is the worst.
It was torture. Like, I almost wish I had missed the whole first run.
Yeah.
So I could have just recorded the whole thing and watched it that way. So it was the same way someone gets hooked on drugs, where they give you the first shot for free, then you really get into it, and then the guy's like, yeah, we didn't get the shipment this week, so you're just gonna have to bite your teeth, and we'll see you in a week, man. It'll be okay. And you're like, what? What did you do? So
if you could write yourself into the show, who would you want to play? What kind of character would you want to play?
I want to see more. I would want to be another offshoot of the guy. I thought it was so brilliant where they have the guy that has given himself a tail. And what that is as funny and creepy and gross as that was so true to life, in that whenever there's a new technology, the minute
someone makes it gross.
Someone either makes it, they make it gross, they use it for porn, or they have to, well, I've got to make it my own. So, like, when cell phones came out, yeah, but I got a cool cover that looks like an old cassette case, and my ringtone.
So you want to be one of them body augmentation weirdos?
Yeah, but
or
not
enthusiasts.
Even,
sorry, I don't mean weirdo.
Yeah, exactly.
I really mean weirdo.
They have to take this new technology, which could be curing Parkinson's and cancer, and he's like, I have a tail.
All right, you heard it. Orphan Black creatives Patton Oswalt wants to be a fellow with a tail in your show.
But here's the thing, though. I want to see more of that world, because a lot of times the people that are doing the goofball stuff end up being the innovators.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's a lot of the innovations that we have for cell phones and for stuff online started with people goofing around. I mean, the fact that we have modern surgery with anesthesia, that comes from college students in England getting a hold of ether and having these ether parties where they would just sniff ether and walk around in a daze. And one of them noticed people would bang their heads on the wall and cut their head open, and they didn't feel it. And then someone finally realized, I wonder if that would work for surgery. And that's how, so basically modern surgery came from these goofball idiots. So what innovation will come from this creepy underground in Orphan Black? Like, that would be really interesting to see.
Thank you for making me terrified of doctors, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but then it was all...
Great, the medical practice, ladies and gentlemen.
What if Tatiana's character had to team up with one of those guys? Because by accident, he uncovers something really crucial, and now she's got to work with this freak. That would be amazing.
No, I love it. I'm on board, and I want you to be the guy. People all over the world have embraced the awesomeness of Orphan Black, in large part thanks to our next guest. When we get back, Tatiana Maslany will be here, hopefully as Tatiana and not as some... Why are you taking your clothes off, Patton? Hopefully as Tatiana and not as somebody else. We'll be right back.
This little show is called Orphan Black.
Welcome to the trip, man.
My hands are going everywhere. This means I'm getting flustered. See, I'm getting...
You ask what I love most about Orphan Black, as if I could state it as a simple fact.
I'm addicted to Orphan Black.
I'm addicted to Orphan Black.
First episode to last episode in the same exact day.
I've seen it about 9 times now. My favorite character is Allison.
Cosima, because I can relate to her a lot. She's a grad student in life sciences, and I'm also a grad student in life sciences.
First clone that I am thoroughly in love with is Sarah.
Helena? Yes, she's a murderer, but I just want to squeeze her face until she explodes. Ding!
Tatiana Maslany is perfect as each of these characters.
You breathe life into these strong women who are bound together by genetics and cloneversation. Nice one. Thank you.
The right amount of action, drama, thriller, and sci-fi with just a little sprinkle of romance.
Best show ever.
Clone Club. I love the Clone Club.
Clone Clubbers.
Welcome to the trip, man.
Bye.
Some guests need no introduction. This one needs about 1 million. Please welcome Sarah, Allison, Beth, Cosima, Helena, Katya, Rachel, and who knows who else. The truly unique and phenomenally talented Tatiana Maslany.
Welcome.
Thank
you. Thanks so much.
I understand that you were on the other side of the world very recently.
Like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, yeah. How you doing?
I'm a little surreal.
Yeah.
My body feels like it's internally shaking. So this is gonna be really good, I think.
It's gonna be great. It's a great
start.
Yeah. So one of the things that I didn't know until I was doing a lot of research for today is how much Orphan Black has resonated with women and how strongly it has resonated with women. And that was one of those duh moments for me because the themes of sisterhood and empowerment and all of that. And I'm wondering, why do you think women identify with the show as strongly as they do?
I think there's quite a few reasons, but I think what it does is it sort of normalizes having a lead female.
Yeah.
It's just the default. It's I think so often the male perspective is our default perspective in television and film and in all kinds of different media. And I think what this show does is it just goes, no, this is, you know, women can be all these different things. It's played by the same actress, but we have the potential for so many things. And not defined by how we look necessarily, because it's just me. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like a sense of responsibility, sort of like carrying that with you?
I don't feel responsible. I feel proud of it. I feel like I don't feel like it has to be right or it has to be, you know, all-encompassing. I think, Jordan, you've talked about that quite a bit with Felix, too, that we don't have to represent every type of person out there, but it's just nice to have outsiders as the leads.
In shades, all shades.
Yeah.
As close to all shades is like people that you may not always see represented.
Yeah.
So speaking of like all of these different people and being all these different people, you play so many different people on the show. What was your audition process like?
It was like I did like 4 auditions before I got to the screen test, which I did with Jordan and with all the other Felixes, but the final audition was 5 of the clones and sort of like just sort of like a tap out thing, but with myself, of all the different characters. So I just kind of change in front of a room full of execs who'd been sitting in there for hours and were exhausted and boiling.
So did you
You did 5 clones in like what space of time?
I think I did like 3 in like maybe 20 minutes, and then like came back and did 2 more. So it was a very normal day.
Actually, yeah, now it kind of is.
Do you remember which of the clones was the first one you played?
It was Sarah first.
Yeah?
Yeah, and then Sarah's Beth, I think.
So you need to, as an actor, you need to identify with and justify every choice that every different character makes, and they all have their different reasons and that sort of thing. Is there a clone who you, just as a person, maybe identify with more than one of the others?
I think Cosima is probably the easiest for me to kind of relate to, as far as just being a bit, she's very focused, she loves what she does so much, she's extremely passionate about what she does, and she makes really dumb decisions sometimes, and falls for the wrong people sometimes.
And uses her hands.
And uses her hands to talk, which I don't do at all. No, I think I really relate to her, and as far as her sort of, there's a lightness to her that the other clones don't necessarily have.
I'm sorry, but you did a scene near the end of season 1 where one of the clones had to pretend to be another one of the clones.
Yeah.
That made my mind melt down. How did you get through that one? You were doing a person impersonating another person. That was amazing.
Thanks.
I feel like we need a diagram to follow.
Do you watch like Eddie Murphy and the Clumps?
That's
and go,
what I based it on.
Come on. How many is he doing? 5?
Yeah.
Whatever. Great.
I based my performance on that performance, actually.
Funny enough, I did too. That's so
Yeah, no, that is like starting with, if I'm playing Sarah as Allison, it start as Sarah and then pretend to be Allison as Sarah would see her, right? Like all the judgments she would have and all the...
I couldn't get over how many that blew me away.
I read a story about how you use music to inspire your different characters, and it was As a fan of the show, it was awesome. As an actor, it was incredibly inspiring to me because it's like I got to add another tool to my actor's toolbox that I didn't even know existed. And would you just talk about that a little bit? Like sort of how you came to make those choices? And...
I had an amazing coach who I've worked with for a few years, and she talks about like the internal rhythm of somebody and how if you change the song that's inside of you, that changes maybe how you walk or how you express yourself or how you speak, even your dialect changes. If I've got like a Gangster's Paradise by Coolio going on internally, which I always do.
Yeah.
I will ask,
is that your soundtrack?
That is it.
Yeah.
That's my heartbeat.
You ever switch it up to Weird Al's Amish Paradise just for fun?
Yeah, I always picture that music video when I'm thinking of Coolio's. It's always the Weird Al version of the...
Coolio would love to hear that.
So we have a question for you from our local clone club.
Do you have any new material that you worked with for season 2? Like new songs? And if you can, would you mind demonstrating the long-awaited Kasima dance that we've been waiting for?
That's not gonna happen. Picture me with glow sticks. New music. God, what did I listen to? What new stuff did I listen to this year? I don't even remember. It feels like a decade ago that we shot it.
When you talked to me about it, we kind of talked about how the first season was focusing so much on conception and like really physicalizing them.
Yeah.
And now we talked about how this season, instead of more of the physicality of everything, we went internal.
Yeah.
And started to work more with like perspective, worldview.
Yeah, I think the music remained important to me, but it was less so. It was more like, okay, I know these women, so how do I push them further by just trusting that I know them, that they're in my body already, and that I can just breathe and speak and not have to be like, look, I'm Allison. You know, like it was a little more...
Instinct.
Well, you just did the Allison eyes, like the Allison eyes came out. Like that was, wow, that was so awesome.
She's easy to access.
Patton, I know that you've got to go, so I want to thank you for being here today. And listen, if you plan to host a viewing party, let me know. I will come over and stand awkwardly behind you for the entire time. In a minute, we're going to get a look at what's in store for next season. I don't think I'm going out on a limb here when I predict that there will be a lot of twists and surprises. We'll be right back.
Thank you. Oh my God, thank you for being
here. I came out when I was in high school and it didn't go well at all. Orphan Black was a rabbit hole, a window into the world I dreamed of when mine was out for blood. Thank you for letting me see that world. It has completely changed the way I think.
Well, welcome back to the Cloneversation. I'm Wil Wheaton. I'm here with Tatiana Maslany, Jordan Gavaris, and we are talking genetically modified DNA. Now, I know I'm not the only fan who has wondered, if I discovered that I had clones, which one of my friends, neighbors, or loved ones would be my monitor? Take a look at this.
Well, if we're gonna get past our monitors, we have to engage.
Yeah, look where that got me. Into bed with him.
You slept with Beth's boyfriend?
He could be in on it, though. Maybe he set it up.
Where are you off to, Sarah?
Paul's a monitor. He reports to Olivier, his handler.
How was she this morning?
Hi.
Well, I may have a monitor dilemma of my own. I can't stop thinking about that kiss. I could be sleeping with my spy as well. What's he done? I think he's my watcher.
I didn't want to fall for you.
Get out!
What do I do?
You spy! You perform medical examinations on me in my sleep.
What?
Just tell me why.
They don't tell us why.
Maybe they're all monitors.
Joining us today are Beth Child's monitor, Paul, as well as one half of everyone's favorite couple, Kofine. You know Kofine? That's what the fans call them. Way to alienate the audience, Wheaton. Okay, please welcome Dylan Bruce and Evelyne Brochu. Hello. Thanks for being here, you guys. Dylan, there are so many twists in this show. I mean, even sometimes within one episode. Yeah. And at the moment, it seems like Paul is one of, I guess, the good guys, but he clearly has his own thing going on. What was that look about? He's not one of the good guys, is he? I saw that. I saw that between you two. Guys, come on, spoilers.
I was petting her shoe. The material that everyone saw.
So, as an actor,
yes.
How do you handle those twists? And how far in advance do you know where Paul is going?
I know nothing in
Really?
advance, yeah. But at the same time, it was a lot of fun for me to play that story arc where as her deception grew, Paul's suspicion grew as well. So I was really looking forward to, I knew it was going to come to a boil at some point in the season, which happened in the middle of the season, and to see what the repercussions were for both of the characters after that. That was a lot of fun to play. But also, there's always an air of unpredictability with Paul, and there always will be, and I think that's going to prevail into season 2 as well.
And one of the things that I like about, one of the things I like about all of the characters on the show is that just about everyone is flawed in some way. Like, everyone has their own little thing that they're sort of like working on. And so I love the moment where you get in the car with Leaky, right? And he basically tells you, do whatever it takes to go and get her, right? Is she telling the truth when she tells Cosima, look, I've actually really fallen for you? Or is that just part of the con?
I think she's telling the truth. I mean, Cosima,
thank
how
God.
can you not, you know?
Yeah, good. I was going to have to change so much headcanon if that wasn't correct.
You know, I think, you know, Delphine has a flip side. Like, as you said, all characters in that show do, which is really fantastic because it's never black or white. But there's definitely a really intense passion and love between those two characters. And it's going to get even more complex in season 2. Because it's, you know, it's so many things at once. It's lovers, it's coworkers, it's eventually, I don't know if I can say that, but going to be a patient-doctor relationship, experiment scientist. It's so much, you know, and it makes it so rich and, you know.
So you guys have phenomenal chemistry on screen. Did you know each other before the show?
I knew Evelyne's work, and I fangirled over you when I met you the first time. I mean, Evelyne's got this incredible body of film work that everybody should see, Café de Flore and Tom à la Ferme and everything. But yeah, so that's all I knew about Evelyne.
You know, I admire you so much too, and you know, this girl is just so smart and so, you know, wise and cool and hilarious. I mean, I just feel like it just flowed really well.
So all of you guys get to work with Tatiana when she's playing multiple clones, right? Do you know the maximum number of clones you've been in a scene with?
I met my first other clone, because for me, Cosima is the one I know, right? It's the one I'm used to, and, you know, and I met Rachel this season. Oh. And it was really awkward, because like we just said,
she's very different from Cosima.
Yeah, we get along, you know, me and Tatiana, but me and Tatiana Sima, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
But me and Tatiana Rachel is like kind of different. Yeah. So I felt awkward the whole day. I was like, hey, buddy, I was kind of going to the craft table to try to
eat your feelings.
So weird.
Dylan, have you had any similar experience to that?
Well, predominantly in season 1, I was just working with Sarah and Faux Beth. Sarah playing Beth. But in season 2, I did get to experience the lovely Techno Dolly and work with in a couple scenes with 2 clones at once, which was a lot of fun, and a lot of fun to see how Tatiana masters that process as well.
How is that for you when you're playing multiple clones? So you're acting with yourself, but then you're also acting with your fellow cast, and it's very clear from the very little time I've been around you all that you're very close. So what happens for you when you need to be an antagonist to one of them, and then we move around, we reset, and now you're an ally?
Well, I mean, those scenes only work because of the people I get to act opposite, and that's Catherine Alexandri, who plays my clone double, who, you know, does the performance completely, even though you never see her, and she's so amazing and gives me all of her energy. And then when I'm in scenes, when I get a third person in the scene with us, I feel like, you know, all of you guys treat me differently based on who I walk in as that day. And that, you know, as an actor, you just respond to what you're given. You treat me like garbage when I'm Allison, but also with this, like, love and this knowing, right? Like there's the dynamic is inherent because of how the actors respond to me.
Yeah.
So it gives me so much help, because otherwise it'd be like acting with 4 exes instead of, but you know what I mean? I'm working with amazing people, so it just helps so much.
Yeah, fantastic. Later in the show, we will get our first look at a scene from the upcoming season, and Orlando Jones, the star of Sleepy Hollow, will join us, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Cloneversation. I'm Wil Wheaton, and I am joined by the cast of Orphan Black. We're talking about our favorite moments from season 1 and getting ready for season 2. Our next guest is a card-carrying member of the Clone Club. He's a very talented comedian, actor, writer, and producer. And thanks to his work on Sleepy Hollow, he knows a thing or two about awesome fandoms. Please welcome Orlando Jones. You knew I was talking about you.
I didn't
like
for a second.
Oh.
It sounds a little full of crappy to me, but I'll take it. Thank you for being so kind.
Yeah. I'm really interested to know how you became aware of Orphan Black.
I was online, what a surprise, and somebody said this show Orphan Black is amazing, and I was like, oh, really, what's that? And I went to watch it with my smirk face. Because I didn't know that
Explain the smirk face.
Because when someone says this show is awesome or that show is awesome and you don't know them, you don't really trust them. So I was like, let me see. And, about 3 minutes later, somebody jumped in front of a train, and I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Right. It's funny, Patton Oswalt said that was the moment that he was on board. Like, that was the moment that grabbed him. When you guys were reading the script, is there a moment in the script where you were like, oh? Is like, did you have like sort of a like, oh, I'm super on board with this when you read the pilot? Anybody?
I had it from the get-go, pretty much with the characters. Just with every character I met, I was like, oh man, these are amazing. I've never seen these people on screen before. Yeah, and I think I constantly have those as we're reading the scripts throughout the season.
You can tell in the writing, even from just there's like a real care and thoughtfulness in even just something as silly as the scene description or the set description or the something from the very beginning, the way they described the train platform, desolate, icy, it was the dead of night. There was something so visceral and resonant, and it's the steak and the sizzle. It's not just, okay, here's the meat. Go do with it. Let the director elevate it. It was the steak and the sizzle. It was
it's
electric.
Establishing a tone for everybody in all the creative
You
departments.
knew this world. You knew those people. You knew how they lived in this world. It was grimy. It was dirty. It was grungy. It wasn't a happy place all the time. It was wicked. I was like, yep, this is cable.
So, Orlando, like we are fans of the show.
Sure.
What is it about this show that just seems to strike a chord with so many people across so many demographics?
I think what's most interesting is that the train moment that sort of sucks you in initially is not really the moment. In some ways it's a throwaway. The show doesn't spend a lot of time in places that other people would try and make a meal out of. It sort of becomes a color, but not the full palette. So I think that's one thing. I think the storytelling is really interesting. I love the action of it. I like its treatment of characters as human beings and not as archetypal prototypes. It sort of immediately breaks those prototypes, I think, and delves, I think, deeper into what's actually going on, what their fears are, how they're despicable, but still human.
Yeah, it's so easy in science fiction for characters to be ideas instead of people, and no one in this show is an idea. Everybody is very, very real.
Realized.
We take the fiction out of science fiction, Will, in our
show.
Wow.
Nicely done.
Bam.
Wow. Wow.
I've been waiting to say that for so long.
That feels like an act break to me. It does. Orlando Jones, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming out. Coming up, we will pull back the curtain just a little bit and show you how Tatiana is able to film scenes with herself, and we will finally glimpse a little bit of season 2. All that and more is coming up in just a moment. I'm Wil Wheaton, and if you are a fan of Orphan Black, then you know exactly who these 4 people are. Though technically, since Tatiana is joining us, our head count has increased significantly. Technology and movie magic play a very big part in helping us immerse ourselves in the story. And one of the things that makes this show so brilliant is the way the clones can all interact with each other in a scene, and it is technically seamless. Here's a little peek at how they do it.
Rolling, rolling.
She had tools. If she couldn't cope, then I mean...
The actual logistics behind doing something like this, it's very, very difficult. We have an acting double. We shoot her over the double and then change the wardrobe and shoot her over the double.
We're clones. We're someone's experiment, and they're killing us off.
That scene where Tatiana is playing 3 characters within the same frame is not conducive to organic acting. That's Tatiana playing against 2 doubles at the same time in wardrobe and hair of 1 character.
But we're also doing a more complex version, which is trying to put them both in the same frame with a computer-controlled camera system that can repeat the camera move over and over.
How did you find me?
What was really cool was literally having them touch each other.
Come on.
It's time-consuming, but it's fantastic. When you nail it, the results are unbelievable.
Hey.
If it weren't for our next guests, none of us would be here today. And look, I'm in no way implying that they are our birth mothers that show up and make things more mysterious before one of us kills them in the middle of something that is clearly important and will drive the audience crazy between seasons because we desperately want to know what she was going to say. They're the minds behind the clones, creators John Fawcett and Graham Manson. Welcome. I have heard that the world almost did not have an Orphan Black. Would you tell us that story?
It's kind of true. It is kind of true. It took a long time to get the show off the ground. I mean, Orphan Black started with an idea of a girl on a train platform, seeing herself seeing her double and jumping, this train jumping sequence, and began as a feature film back in 2003. 2003.
Wow.
And took a lot of perseverance and love and patience to get it to the screen, and it was thanks to BBC America, Space, our Canadian network, and Temple Street. Temple Street.
One of the things that I love about this show are the themes of sisterhood and how empowered all of the female characters are on the show, and I know that this has resonated a lot with the audience. And I am wondering, was that a decision you made very early on, that these clones were going to have this sort of familial bond that maybe they don't understand? Or is that something that just sort of developed as you got to see them live together?
I think it developed, but we knew it was really rich sort of character and thematic territory, the nature-nurture stuff. And we knew that we had sort of a triumvirate with Cosima and Allison and Sarah, and we really wanted to explore that bond.
Plus, we knew that there was a real sisters thing between Sarah and Helena that we were very excited about.
One of the things that is equally maddening and awesome about this show is that I never really know who to root for, right? And so Leaky comes in, and it's really clear that he's a bad guy, but then maybe not. But now maybe he is, but now we don't know. Again, would you talk a bit about Leaky's relationship to the clones and whatever this project was that created them?
The thing that's lovely about this that you pointed out is that, this is one of those shows just kind of where you just don't know who to trust.
Yeah.
You don't, you're kind of going down one path and thinking this guy's on our side, and then, wait a second, everyone's got their own agenda, and I think that's one of the things that Graham and I were, that loved about this sort of, the style of this show, is that you just kind of, we just wanted to pull the rug out all the time.
I imagine that this will get edited out of the final broadcast, but I just want to say, as this person who has loved the first season of this show, and as a person who lives in a post-Lost universe, please don't f this up. People love Orphan Black, and as passionate fans often do, these folks went the extra mile. This is what happens when a show inspires people to get excited and make something. Watch.
Welcome to the Clone Club. Can you not say the C word? Sistra. We make family?
Yeah. We have to know our own biology. I mean, that's what this is about, right? Who is Rachel?
She's a pro clone. God, you three are weird enough.
In just a minute, we will get more insight into the show, as well as an exclusive look at season 2. And all you have to do is sit through this commercial break. All right, I didn't want it to come to this, but it has clearly come to this. I am going to beg. Please tell me something about next season.
Graham and I have perfected our deathly stare.
I think Maria Doyle Kennedy said it best. Yes. She said, season 2 is like season 1 on crack.
But crack's bad.
No,
Yes,
Will.
so
Crack is
good.
good.
Oh, is that true? Orphan crack.
This is very, very good.
All right, listen, this is the moment we have all been waiting for. This is an exclusive sneak peek at season 2. In this scene, we will learn a little bit more about the mysterious Rachel and her relationship to Dyad. But you don't want to hear me talk anymore. Let's roll it.
I want us to be clear, Paul. As my monitor, you report my data to Aldous, but you work for me. Do you understand?
Not exactly.
I've known Leaky my entire life. When my adoptive parents died, he became something of a guardian to me. But now, my position in the corporation essentially outranks his Dyad directorship. He can become too attached to his subjects, myself included. Up until now, your entanglements with Sarah have been your saving grace, Paul.
I never asked her to cross my path.
You didn't ask for me either. Now it's time to make a decision, Paul. There's no middle ground anymore.
What do you need me to do?
Bam! Oh, Paul. What are you doing?
Wow. Okay, so clearly we are in for another insane ride in season 2. Would any of you guys like to say anything before we sign off?
Say something.
Say something.
What? What do I say?
I almost played Wesley Crusher in a wedding once. I'd like to say that. Yeah. My sister wanted to have a Star Trek wedding, and they have a Star Trek chapel in Vegas. Yeah. She was going to be Deanna Troi. Of course, her husband was going to be Picard. Right. I wanted to be Worf, but I couldn't go through the makeup thing. So I was a younger brother, and I was going to be Wesley Crusher.
You're far too handsome to be Wesley
No,
Crusher.
stop it. You're far too handsome.
I know. I want to thank my guests, Tatiana, Jordan, Patton, Dylan, Evelyne, Orlando, John, and Graham. And most of all, thank you to you, everyone in the Clone Club at home, the Clone Club here. Thank you for recognizing how amazing this show is and continuing to support it. Orphan Black Season 2 premieres right here on BBC America on April 19th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I know where I'm going to be then. Thanks a lot for watching. Good night.